Welcome back, everyone, to your favorite military history channel, the place where strategy meets current affairs. We are back with August Current Affairs Part 1, and this one's packed with critical updates and must-know questions. For all our dedicated subscribers who have opted for the hard copy or soft copy notes, don't worry. Your updated material will reach your inbox by 15th August. We don't want any postal delays standing in the way of your success. And for all our amazing viewers following us here on YouTube, this is your Part 1 of August Current Affairs, crafted with precision to help you stay ahead. Before we begin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Your support keeps this mission going strong. In this video, we are going to cover 7 crucial questions that could easily show up in your upcoming defense and military exams. So grab your notebook, stay sharp, and let's dive right in. Without further ado, here comes question number 1. Which states, discuss the objectives, key features, and achievements of the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, PMKVY, which recently completed 10 years since its launch in 2015. What challenges has the scheme faced in addressing India's skill gap, and what measures can be adopted to enhance its effectiveness in meeting future workforce demands? Let's break this down step by step, starting with the objectives of the scheme. Objectives of PMKVY. You can remember them with the word skill. S. Skill industry match. The main goal is to match the skills of youth with the needs of industries. This helps reduce the gap between what young people know and what companies actually need. K. Knowledge recognition. The scheme gives official certificates to people who already have skills, like artisans, carpenters, or weavers, even if they never had formal training. I. Inclusive growth. It focuses on helping all sections of society, especially women, and communities like SC, CENT, and OBC so that no one is left behind. L. Link to jobs. After training, the scheme aims to connect candidates with jobs, making sure they don't just learn but also earn. L. Lifelong learning support. It encourages continuous learning with support from digital tools and AI, not just one-time training. Key features of PMKVY. Remember them with the word trained. T. Training formats. There are 2 types of training. Short-term training, STT, for 3 to 6 months in over 30 sectors. Recognition of prior learning, RPL, for people who already have experience but no certificates. ARB representation and reach. The scheme tries to include everyone, especially women, SC, CENT, and OBC communities. Around 45% of beneficiaries are women. AI and digital integration. The latest version, PMKVY 4.0, has added AI-based tools, online platforms, and a Skill India digital hub to make learning smarter. I. Integration with schools. Under the Skill Hub initiative, vocational training has been started in schools, so students can learn skills from a younger age. In new and emerging domains. The scheme is not just about traditional jobs. It also focuses on modern fields like AI, IoT, mechatronics, drones, and even traditional crafts. Emergency response roles. During COVID-19, the scheme trained over 1.2 lakh youth to support in emergency roles, like health workers and helpers. D. Developed by MSDE. The scheme was launched by the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, which leads all national skilling efforts. Let's now talk about what the scheme has achieved in the past 10 years. Achievements in 10 years. Remember with the word score. S. Skilling stats. 1.63 crore youth have been trained under PMKVY since 2015. C. Comprehensive outreach. In total, over 6 crore people have been trained under all MSDE programs combined since 2014. O. Ongoing progress. Under the latest version, PMKVY 4.0, 25 plus lakh people have already been trained. Reform aligned training. 1.10 crore people trained under PMKVY 2.0 were linked to big national missions like Make in India and Digital India. Entrepreneurship promotion. The scheme also helps people become entrepreneurs. 17 lakh trained under DDUGKY for rural employment. 56 lakh under RSETIs, Rural Self-Employment Training Institutes. Now let's talk about where the scheme still faces challenges. Challenges in addressing skill gap. Mnemonic gaps. Geographical imbalance. Some areas have many training centers, others have very few. So, access is uneven across India. Alignment lag. Industries change fast, but training modules sometimes get outdated, leading to a mismatch. Peak placement constraints. Even after training, not all students get jobs, and there is limited tracking of job success. Standardization issues. Not all training centers provide the same quality, which affects the value of the certificates. Now let's move to what can be done to improve the scheme going forward. Measures to enhance future effectiveness. Mnemonic boost. Better industry linkages. Training must be designed with companies on board, so it matches real job needs. Outcome-based monitoring. Regularly check if people are getting jobs, and how they're growing in their careers. Outreach expansion. Build more centers in rural and backward areas, so everyone gets access. Skill stack personalization. Use AI to create custom training paths for each person, based on their strengths and interests. Trainer quality upgrade. Invest in better training for trainers, because the right mentor can make all the difference. That was a complete breakdown of PMKVY from its goals and features to its results and room for improvement. Now let's move on to the next important question. Question number 2 states, evaluate the Israel-Syria conflict in light of the recent airstrikes in Suwaida and Damascus. How do sectarian tensions, particularly involving the Druze community, intersect with Israeli security concerns and strategic aims in the Golan Heights? Suggest measures to de-escalate the conflict while safeguarding minority rights and border stability. Let's start with what has happened recently in the conflict between Israel and Syria, focusing on the airstrikes and what they mean. Recent airstrikes in Israel-Syria conflict. Use the word strike to remember. Sectarian flashpoint. Recently, there's been violence in Suwaida, a region where Druze people form the majority. This adds a religious and ethnic layer to the conflict. Targeted regions. Israel has carried out airstrikes into main areas Damascus, the capital of Syria, and Suwaida, near the border. Our response to ceasefire collapse. These attacks came after a ceasefire broke down, so the fighting has started again in the region. Israeli justification. Israel says it's acting to defend the Druze community and create a buffer zone near the Golan Heights to protect its own borders. Kinetic strategy. Israel is using military force, kinetic means, to hit Iran-backed militant groups that operate in Syria. Ethnic dynamics exploited. Some experts believe Israel might also be trying to win support from Syrian Druze, especially if there's a shift in power after the Assad regime. Now let's connect this to the deeper sectarian tensions and Israel's strategic goals. Druze community and Israeli strategic interests. Remember with the word Druze. Druze in danger. The Druze are in a tough position, caught between Syrian government forces, Islamist militants, and militias. Regional loyalty variance. The Druze community is split. Israeli Druze often serve in the army. Syrian Druze try to stay neutral or autonomous. Youth unrest as leverage. Israel sometimes uses the unrest in Syria to justify its military action, claiming it's protecting minorities like the Druze. Zone of strategic concern. Suwaida is very close to the Golan Heights, which makes it a highly sensitive area for Israel's security. Ethnic influence strategy. Israel might be trying to build ties with Syrian Druze, hoping they'll be allies in a future Syria without Assad. So, what can be done to reduce this tension, while also protecting communities and borders? Measures to de-escalate the conflict. Use the word peace. P. Protect civilian zones. Create safe areas in Suwaida under UN supervision to protect Druze and Bedouin civilians from attacks. E. Engage via diplomacy. Restart peace talks between Israel and Syria, even if indirect. A neutral third party can help reduce border tensions. A. Assure minority rights. The Syrian government should give legal guarantees for minority rights and allow local self-rule for the Druze where possible. C. Ceasefire enforcement. A new, strong ceasefire should be signed, involving Israel, Syria, and Druze community leaders, to prevent more violence. E. External actor restraint. Countries like Iran, which back militant groups, should be pressured to reduce their interference, to avoid worsening the situation. That wraps up our breakdown of the Israel-Syria conflict and its impact on the Druze community. Let's now move forward to our next important question. Question number 3 states, the proposed Russian Sanctions Act, 2025 poses a major challenge to India's energy dependence on Russia. Evaluate the bill's key provisions and their likely impact on India's economy and foreign policy. How can India safeguard its sovereign choices and diversify its energy portfolio under such external pressures? Let's begin by understanding what the Russian Sanctions Act, 2025 is all about. Key provisions of the Russian Sanctions Act 2025. Mnemonic, scope. Est Section 17 Penalty Clause. The bill proposes a massive 500% tariff on energy imports from Russia. That would make Russian oil extremely expensive for countries like India. See countries targeted. The law doesn't just affect Russia. It's also aimed at countries like India, China, and Brazil if they keep trading with Russia. Old optional presidential waiver. There's a small window for flexibility. The US president can delay enforcement for 6 months, but only for strategic reasons. P. Prompt enforcement mechanism. Once a violation is found, action is taken within 50 days, so the bill moves fast. E. Enforcement scope. It has support from both US political parties, which makes it likely to pass and difficult to challenge. So, what could this mean for India's economy? Impact on India's economy. Mnemonic, price. P. Price shock risk. If Russian oil becomes too expensive due to tariffs, India could face a fuel price shock. Our route reconfiguration. India would need to find new oil suppliers, which means longer routes and higher transportation costs. I. Inflationary pressure. Fuel prices affect everything, from food to transport. So, we could see rising inflation, which would hurt ordinary citizens. See costlier alternatives. Oil from other countries is usually more expensive and less reliable than Russian oil. E. Energy security disruption. All this could weaken India's energy security, making the country more vulnerable to supply shocks. Let's now look at how this affects India's foreign policy. Impact on India's foreign policy. Mnemonic, stand. As sovereignty questioned. India sees this act as interference in its right to make independent decisions, especially when it comes to where it buys energy from. T. Tilt resistance. The bill is seen as a way to push India to side with the West in the Russia-Ukraine war, but India has tried to remain neutral. A. Assertive diplomacy. The Indian government has openly opposed the bill, calling it unfair and a threat to its strategic autonomy. In non-aligned balancing. India continues to follow a balanced foreign policy, trading with both the West and countries like Russia, not choosing sides. D. Diplomatic dissonance. If the bill becomes law, it could strain India-US relations, affecting trade and military cooperation. So what can India do to protect its interests? Measures to safeguard India's sovereign choices. Mnemonic, India. International advocacy. India can raise its concerns at forums like the WTO, BRICS, or G20, highlighting how such sanctions hurt global energy access. In negotiate waiver window. India should push for the 6-month exemption allowed by the Act, giving time to adjust and reduce the impact. Diversify energy basket. India needs to import oil and gas from more than 40 countries, reducing dependence on any single source. Invest in domestic alternatives. Scale up solar, wind, biofuels, and domestic oil reserves to increase energy independence. Align with multipolar norms. Continue a balanced, interest-first diplomacy, without joining any bloc but maintaining relationships with all. That was a detailed look at how global sanctions can affect national policy, especially in the energy sector. Now let's move ahead to our next critical question. Question number 4 states, examine the strategic relevance of the Akash Prime missile system in securing India's northern frontiers, especially in the context of emerging aerial threats and high-altitude vulnerabilities. How does this indigenous system contribute to India's deterrence posture and reduce dependency on foreign missile platforms? Let's begin by looking at why Akash Prime matters, especially when it comes to defending India's northern borders. Strategic relevance of Akash Prime. Mnemonic, Ladakh. Ladakh and LAC focused. Akash Prime has been tested successfully at 15,000 feet in Ladakh, making it ideal for high-altitude areas like Ladakh and Sikkim. Aerial threat neutralization. It is designed to shoot down drones, enemy fighter jets, and cruise missiles, especially near sensitive border zones. Deployed flexibly. The system is mounted on mobile vehicles, so it can be quickly moved and deployed even in difficult, mountainous terrain. Altitude adaptive performance. It works well even in low oxygen, freezing conditions, offering all-weather protection in high-altitude areas. Kill accuracy. It has an 88% success rate with a single missile, and nearly 99% accuracy when firing two missiles at once, making it very reliable. Homeland Shield. It strengthens India's air defense along the northern front, especially around the line of actual control, LAC. Now, let's look at how Akash Prime helps improve India's deterrence posture, in other words, how it discourages enemy attacks. Contribution to India's deterrence posture. Mnemonic, Prime. Precision targeting. It comes with an indigenous radar seeker that helps it lock onto and destroy enemy targets accurately. Response credibility. With Akash Prime deployed, India can respond quickly to aerial threats, especially near the borders. Indigenous capability. The system is developed by DRDO with help from BDL and BEL, showing India's ability to build advanced tech on its own. Multi-threat engagement. It can track and target multiple types of threats, whether it's drones, aircraft, or missiles, adding depth to India's air defense. Escalation control. Its presence itself acts as a deterrent, reducing the enemy's confidence that an air attack would succeed. Next, let's talk about how Akash Prime helps India reduce its dependency on foreign missile systems. Reduction in foreign dependency. Mnemonic, Make. Made in India? Akash Prime is fully made in India under the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, pushing us towards defense self-reliance. Avoids imports. With this system, India doesn't need to buy expensive missiles from abroad, saving foreign exchange and boosting local industry. Knowledge transfer internalized. The project has helped build in-house expertise, from seeker tech to guidance systems, all are developed by Indian engineers. Economic efficiency. Compared to foreign systems, Akash Prime is cost-effective, and maintenance is easier, thanks to local production and support. Akash Prime stands as a strong symbol of India's growing defense capabilities, designed for the mountains, made at home. Now, let's move on to our next strategic topic. Question number 5 states, discuss the objectives, key features, and strategic significance of the NISAR satellite jointly developed by NASA and ISRO. How does this mission enhance Earth observation capabilities and support disaster management, climate monitoring, and India-US space cooperation? Suggest ways to maximize the utility of NISAR's data for national and global priorities. Let's break this down into 4 parts. Objectives, features, strategic importance, and how to maximize the data. 1. Objectives of the NISAR satellite. Remember with the word GRACE. G. Glacier and cryosphere monitoring. NISAR helps track melting glaciers, shifting ice sheets, and thawing permafrost, which are all signs of climate change. UP resource mapping and land deformation. It can detect ground-level changes, like earthquakes, landslides, and land sinking, subsidence, essential for safety and planning. A. Agriculture and soil moisture. The satellite monitors soil moisture, droughts, and crop cycles, helping us understand farming conditions. C. Coastal and ecosystem changes. It tracks changes in wetlands, forests, and coastlines, helping preserve ecosystems and prepare for rising sea levels. E. Emergency and disaster response. During floods, quakes, or cyclones, NISAR provides near real-time data, improving our emergency response. 2 key features of the NISAR mission. Mnemonic, radar. AG radar dual frequency SAR. NISAR is the first satellite to carry both L-band, from NASA, and S-band, from ISRO, radars. This makes its imaging more versatile and accurate. A. Antenna, 12M mesh reflector. A large 12-meter antenna helps capture detailed images from space, across wide areas. D. Day-night, all-weather imaging. Whether it's night, clouded, or raining, NISAR keeps working, thanks to radar imaging. A. Advanced sweep SAR technology. It covers a 242-kilometer wide area and revisits the same spot every 12 days, giving updated global data frequently. ARB resolution, high accuracy. It can detect ground movements as small as 1 centimeter, perfect for spotting early signs of natural disasters. 3. Strategic significance of NISAR. Mnemonic, space. S strengthens Indo-US collaboration. This satellite is a result of joint work between NASA and ISRO, showing strong India-US space ties since their 2014 agreement. P. Promotes disaster preparedness. The data helps India predict cyclones, floods, and earthquakes, which is vital in disaster-prone areas. A. Advances Earth sciences globally. NISAR's open data will support global climate studies, tectonic mapping, and biodiversity tracking. C. Contributes to SDGs. It supports the UN Sustainable Development Goals, especially on climate action, agriculture, and disaster resilience. E. Enhances India's remote sensing leadership. It boosts ISRO's reputation as a global leader in Earth observation technology. 4. Ways to maximize the utility of NISAR's data. Mnemonic, data-wise. D. Develop national data portals. Create public platforms where scientists, farmers, and government bodies can access the satellite's data. A. Align with ministries. Use NISAR data across departments, agriculture, water, environment, and disaster response. T. Train ground-level agencies. Local officials and emergency teams need training to use real-time satellite insights during crisis. A. AI and big data analytics. Use artificial intelligence to turn NISAR's data into predictions and decision-making tools. W. Work with global partners. Share data with international bodies like the UN, IPCC, and climate alliances for broader global impact. I. Integrate with Gaganyaan and Navai. Combine NISAR with India's other space programs for richer, multi-layered information. S. Support farmer advisory services. Use soil and crop data to guide farmers on irrigation, sowing time, and weather forecasts. E. Enhance urban resilience. Help city planners map flood zones, landslide risks, and heat pockets, making cities safer and climate-ready. NISAR isn't just a satellite, it's a smart eye in the sky, helping both science and survival. Let's move forward now to our next important topic. Question number 6 states, analyze the India-UK CETA and Vision 2035 through the lens of equitable growth, sustainability, and global governance. How do the provisions targeting MSMEs, climate action, and digital transformation reflect a progressive economic partnership? What should be India's long-term diplomatic strategy to ensure this agreement strengthens its global leadership credentials? Let's explore how the India-UK Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, and Vision 2035 are designed to create a fair, green, and future-ready economic partnership. 1. Equitable growth dimension. Mnemonic, fair. F. Focus on MSMEs. The deal supports zero duty, paperless trade, which makes it easier for small businesses to export, especially from rural areas. A. Artisans and agripreneurs empowered. It opens UK markets for Indian tea, spices, fruits, and meat, and empowers women and youth-led businesses in agriculture and crafts. I. Income boost for professionals. The Double Contributions Clause, DCC, exempts Indian workers in the UK from paying social security twice, leading to higher take-home pay. Are regional employment linkages? Export-led growth from this deal can create jobs in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, helping India grow beyond its metros. 2. Sustainability and climate alignment. Mnemonic, green. GEV Green Energy Cooperation. India and the UK are working together on wind energy, small modular reactors, SMRs, and blue carbon initiatives under platforms like ISA and OSAWOG. Our renewable resource access? Through the Critical Minerals Guild, India gets better access to rare minerals needed for green technologies. E. Environmental financing. The UK supports climate finance and carbon market initiatives, helping India meet its Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. E. Education for sustainability. The Green Skills Partnership will train Indian youth for climate-related jobs, aligning with future job markets. N. Net Zero Goals Synergy. Both countries are aligned on achieving net zero, and the UK will support India's 2070 goal through tech sharing and forest regeneration. 3. Digital and Innovation Partnership. Mnemonic, code. C. Cyber and core tech collaboration. India and the UK are jointly working on AI, 6G biotech, and cyber security, including the setup of a joint AI research center. O. Online trade and paperless systems. Simplified customs processes will enable smoother e-commerce and MSME exports, supporting small business growth. D. Dual degree and digital education. UK universities will now open campuses in India, and dual degree programs will give Indian students better global exposure. E. Enablers for startups. Deep tech and digital innovation hubs will be co-developed, turning India into a startup powerhouse in emerging technologies. 4. Global governance and strategic diplomacy. Mnemonic, led. L. Leadership in multilateral forums. India and the UK support reforms in global bodies like the UN, WTO, and IMF, pushing for a more inclusive world order. E. Economic diplomacy upgrade. With a goal to double bilateral trade to over $56 billion by 2030, and backed by infrastructure financing, this deal enhances India's economic influence. A. Assertive strategic ties. A 10-year defense roadmap and high-level dialogues deepen maritime security and strategic ties, especially in the Indian Ocean region. D. Diaspora and development sync. The Young Professionals Scheme and recognition of qualifications empower the Indian diaspora and boost global mobility. 5. India's long-term diplomatic strategy. Mnemonic, vision. V. Value-based partnerships. India should focus on democratic and inclusive trade agreements, not just transactional ones. I. Institutionalize strategic dialogues. Strengthen regular collaboration on trade, defense, AI, and climate change. Strengthen supply chain resilience. Build reliable, green, and diversified supply chains, especially in tech and energy. Integrate climate tech diplomacy. India should lead globally on climate justice, using CETA to showcase digital and environmental leadership. Outreach via education and mobility. Expand education and skill diplomacy by connecting universities, startups, and talent hubs. Network of next-gen FTAs. Use the CETA model to strike similar deals with EU, Canada, Australia, and Africa, making India a central player in global trade. This agreement isn't just about trade, it's about transforming the future. With India stepping into a leadership role in climate, tech, and global diplomacy, let's move on to our final question in this current affairs roundup. Question 7 states, discuss the military and strategic implications of India's indigenous development of the ULPGM V3 missile system. How does this capability support modern battlefield requirements in counter-terrorism and border operations? In what ways can it reshape India's tactical doctrine and enhance its role as a global defense exporter? Let's wrap up this session by diving into a cutting-edge indigenous missile system, ULPGM V3, and how it's redefining India's military edge. 1. Strategic significance of ULPGM V3. Mnemonic, fire. Force multiplication via UAV integration. This missile can be fired from drones, making it a lethal precision weapon without risking human lives. It allows beyond visual range strikes, especially useful in sensitive or hostile terrain. Indigenous tech leadership. Made in India by DRDO, BDL, and Indian startups, it reflects true Atmanirbhar Bharat spirit and builds self-reliance in defense. Real-time target engagement. Thanks to its two-way data link, it can change targets mid-air, adapting to changing battlefield conditions. Plus, it works both day and night, across diverse terrains. Export-ready edge. It's light, modular, and easy to integrate, perfect for friendly countries. Aligned with India's defense export policy, it's ready to enter global markets. 2. Tactical advantages in modern warfare. Mnemonic, aim. Aid anti-terror precision. In counter-terrorism operations, this missile can strike small, high-value targets with minimal collateral damage, perfect for urban or dense environments. Integrated border dominance. Paired with Indian drones like Tapas BH and Rustam, it enhances surveillance and allows proactive strikes along the LOC and LAC. Mission versatility. The warhead can be customized, anti-tank, bunker-busting, or soft-target focused. That makes it effective in hybrid warfare, cross-border skirmishes, and asymmetric conflicts. 3. Reshaping tactical doctrine and defense diplomacy. Mnemonic, map. The modernized tactical doctrine. ULPGM V3 supports a shift towards unmanned, high-precision strike capability. India can now carry out surgical or covert OPS with minimal boots on the ground. Aid alliance opportunities. The tech opens doors for joint ventures with countries strong in drone warfare like Israel and UAE. It also boosts interoperability with allied forces. Platform for export growth. Its cost-effectiveness and compact design make it attractive to developing nations, especially in Southeast Asia and Africa. This positions India as a global supplier of affordable, high-precision munitions. So, the ULPGM V3 isn't just a missile, it's a game-changer for how India conducts operations, secures its borders, and builds its reputation as a 21st-century defense innovator. And that concludes Part 1 of August Current Affairs. If you found these insights helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for Part 2 coming very soon. To all our staff exam warriors and dedicated Part D aspirants, this channel is your one-stop destination for the most relevant, exam-focused material. Our expert team has painstakingly analyzed every topic and delivered it in the simplest, most digestible question-answer format, exactly how it's asked in the exam. Make sure you don't miss out on any of this month's current affairs or military history videos. They're all critical for your revision. Momentum is everything. Don't lose it. Stay consistent, stay sharp. And for Part D aspirants, book your copy now and stay on top of every update that matters. Thank you for your support, and as always, Jai Hind.